So basically, the Thurston scale must first of all start from the research question or the research statement or the claim. If we assume there is a teaching method X affects the students positively, so we want actually to quantify that claim, to capture whether this claim could be in the form to be proven or disproved. The first things you have to start with to identify kind of dichotomy or groups. So for example, I would start with the delivery, material, application. So those are just an example actually of dichotomy that you can, but you must have kind of grouping ideas on what exactly you want to ask. The next to come up with number of statements, as many as you can on each of these dichotomies. So for simplicity purpose, I'm going just to assume like we have only one dichotomy with 10 statements. Now, what kind of a statement I'm talking about, what these statements would look like? These are an example. For example, the first statement say, using a single book helps students in real life application. Since we know this teaching method is using a single book. So this is the first, this is one of the statements. Another statement say, single book doesn't cover as much in real life application. Now, what do you see the difference between these two statements? That the first statement seems to be in favor for teaching method X since it uses a single book. And the last statement seems to be not in favor for teaching method X. This is the actual technique or the tip that you have to keep in mind in step number one. Those statements must be, some of them you think they are in favor for what you are measuring, the other should be not in favor. And the next step, panel of juries. Well, this panel of juries or judges should be people who have good experience about the subject or the research question. In this case, for example, since we're talking about teaching, could be teachers, principals, or senior scientists in teaching field. But somehow, say for this example, I secured number of 50 judges. So I'm going to take the first statement and I expose it to all the judges, asking them whether this statement, is it in favor or not in favor for teaching method X. Now, we are not asking their opinion. We are asking their professional judgment. For example, the first judge, he said, I see this statements to be in favor. Rate it as 10. Maybe the second half rate 9. At the end, that number of judges are rating the first statements on a scale from 1 to 11. So in the third step, I want to convert this into a quantifying thing. Calculate something called the mean or the median, something like so. Now this actual table represent only the calculation for one of those statements. This statement, for example, that single book does not cover as much in real life application. How many judge thought number one? Only one judge. How many judge thought it takes number 2? Only 6 judges. How about 3? You got 9 judges, and go on like this. Next, what you do, you calculate something called the product. And the product is simple multiplication. So I will multiply the number of judges by the scale value of 1, and you will get these numbers. So after that, you sum them up and you come with 275. Okay, this is the total score you've got, and just divide it by 50, and then you will end up with something like 5.5. Now I have 5.5, and what is this number? This is called the mean of this statement. So I know now this statement is equal to 5.5. Maybe this statement might come to 9.8 or something. Maybe another statements come to 2.3 and so on. So each of my statements will have this magical number. My instrument is ready. This is the fourth step, that is to use the instrument. Maybe I could choose 3 groups of students that I know, previously I know their performance, poor performance, the other group have an excellent performance, another group have a neutral performance. It's not bad, it's not good, just normal. Basically, what they're gonna do, agree or disagree with the statement. That's it. After we finish for each participant, in group 1, I'm doing this in group 1, I will calculate how many statement the participant agreed with. So I will take those agreed statements. And for illustration, for example, say this participant agree with 5 out of those 10. And I know the value of each statement and I calculated the mean, right? So what I would do, I have 3.5, the first one he agreed with, the value of it, plus maybe 7, plus, say, for example, he agreed with 9.5, maybe he agreed with 2, maybe he agreed with 9, okay? So he agreed with 5 out of those 10. So I calculate those numbers. And what I do after I sum them up, I divide by 5 since he agreed with 5. And that would lead me maybe to a number something like 6.2. 6.2 is opinion almost neutral. For example, every group has around maybe 10 participants. So basically I would have 10 numbers like this from the first group, 10 from the second, from the third. What I do, maybe I will calculate the average of all those 10 numbers that I selected from the first group. And finally, I will end up with single number is the average of this group. Maybe it will, let me just for illustration say, it's the same number. It will be like 6.2. And maybe the other group seems to be 8.2. And the other group maybe seems to be something like 6.5 or something. So what I see clearly that the group who performs very well, or they have an excellent performance, they seem to be are in favor in natural, that really this teaching method affected their performance positively. That means the other two groups, or let me say at least the group that they performed poorly, seems that they have not really a clear or natural opinion on the teaching method that trigger you to investigate furthermore. So that was just a quick example and illustration on the use of the Thurston scale method. Let's go ahead and discuss the second in the list, and that is the Likert scale. I will see you then.